What's up, everybody? My name's Colin Sheehan. Welcome back to Trust the Profits YouTube page. This video, we are looking at the Sunland Park Derby for Sunday, March 26th, and we decided to put together a pick three. My friend Finky joins me from Turtle Sports. Let's get right to it. What's up? Welcome back to Trust the Profits. Please like and subscribe. We got a busy weekend of Derby preps, and we had to get the Sunland Derby coverage underway. My man from the left coast, Finky, joins me. What's happening, Finky?
What's up, Colin? It's good to see you again. It's been too long.
That's right. When we go to the left coast, you're the one I reach out to. What can people find over at Turtle Sports these days?
Turtle Sports, as always, we've got the Lundin line, which is our horse racing handicap power rankings that we have. And then my guy Pickles, if anybody has seen him, has been destroying college basketball in the last couple of weeks. We have some very nice futures going. He is very excited that K-State won. Sorry, Michigan State fans. I know you guys are a little upset right now, but that was a phenomenal game. And if you like sports, head over to @_Turtle Sports or turtlesports.net to check out everything that we have for you.
Yeah, they got great coverage over there for you. We got great coverage right here for you. We have covered every Derby prep race this weekend, and we needed to make sure we got to the Sunland Derby. So we decided let's put together a little pick three, not a doubling down, not a capping the card, a little bit in between the first race. And part of the reason I had to do the pick three is they didn't put the Oaks and the Derby back to back. They like to sandwich that race in the middle. So in order to cover both of them, I said, let's go for a pick three. Again, this is for race 8, 9, and 10 at Sunland Park on Sunday, March 26th. The first race is the Sunland Oaks. This is eligible for Kentucky Oaks points. They're going a mile and a 16th. You have Bob Baffert coming in maybe just to mess it up with doing it the hard way, the number 4 at 2-1. And you have the local horse, number 1, Flying Connection for the Fincher Barn at your favorite at 9-5. Finky, where'd you go?
For me, I won't lie. I'm not a huge fan of the 4. I just think that there's something odd about a horse who is coming out for this race that can't even can't make it to the Oaks. That's that Friday in May. But then I'm just not a huge fan of horses who won their last race and it was a maiden race. I try to stay away from those kind of horses. That was the initial handicap. But when you see our picks come out for Turtle Sports and the Lundin line gets posted, the top horse we had and actually one of our best bets based on ratings is going to be doing it the hard way. For me, I actually landed on Foolish Delight and on Una Palabra. Yeah, I always want to say Parabola. That's why I got to slow it down because that's what it came out in my brain every time I say it. So just kind of where I landed. I'm a big fan of Harry Hernandez. For some of the rides he has out there. He's on that New Mexico, Arizona circuit, so he's kind of local. He understands the tracks. He understands the horses that are out there. So when I put this ticket together, I should say, or if I was just going to bet it straight, I'd be fading the 4 for sure.
Yep, the exact opposite of me, but I struggled with this. I really had Flying Connection as my on-top pick. This one defeated 3 of the others that are in this race, the number 2 and the 7 in the last race at Sunland Park. This horse seems to get better with distance. The speed figures were a little light, and when I started digging into them a little bit more, although the 4, you're right, last race was a maiden race, now stepping up against Graded Company. That's obviously something to be concerned of, but you got Pratt coming aboard, and you said the Baffert factor. Baffert's won this race 8 times. He sends them over and he just wins this race. And if I try and get cute and beat him, regardless if he's sending this horse to the Oaks or obviously not, I just think that this horse has a real chance. The speed figures are there. Tried in the Grade 1 Starlet, finishing 4th to Feza. Last 2 times run Lasix, does not have Lasix this time. Number 5, Una Palabra, I was also interested in. The first 3 races for this horse were on the turf. First race was a mile up a turfway and ran a solid 81 Brisnet speed figure. I was 1 singled, then I was 1-5, and now suddenly I'm 4 singled with the Baffert horse. If you're going to use the Baffert horse, in my opinion, you have to single. If you're going to use the 1 Flying Connection, you probably have to single as well. But in your case, you got a 6-1 and a 5-1. that's pretty good structure for your ticket.
Yeah, and that's part of it for me is just that those horses that are close to the even money, they're most likely going to, probably get down there or even go the other way, especially with the Baffert name on it. I don't see a 2-1. I see 3-5, 4-5, just for that name. And that's one of the great things I like doing these videos with you and listening to all your stuff at Trust the Profits is you guys are trying to show people that those horses win. There's been plenty of times where I've heard it. And guys are saying like, hey, sometimes just put the chalk in. That's what you got to do. So I am going against the Turtle Sports Lundin line here. When I made this ticket, I don't know how that's going to go over with the rest of the group, knowing that I'm putting a ticket out without our top two horses. It's actually 4-1 is the way we ranked them. So we'll see. I'm either a genius or I am completely out of this thing as we go into it.
That's okay. I'm just surprised you didn't use the 6. Don't get pickled for your friend Pickles.
I definitely thought about it, and I think he should have to bet on the horse no matter what.
Absolutely, but that would sound the dog alarm, as we say here on Trust the Profits, when you're picking horses based on names, but I digress. The middle race that I had...
Hey, that's how I used to do it when I first started doing this, because I had no idea.
It works just as good. Don't let them hear me. I said that. The middle leg of this pick 3 is race 9, and this is the one that's going a mile for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. You have a field of 9 with the favorite, again, number 7, Bob Baffert, Eda, I think it's Eda, at 6-5. Pratt's aboard, and again, you're flirting with some danger here, deciding to either go with Baffert or with or against. Where did you land?
I am going to 100% contradict myself on the first race, and I am going to single the 7 here. It will be our Lundin line's second best bet. And when we do those are equal best bets. We do 2 on every card that we run. So we had the Baffert horses. Being here on the West Coast, we see a lot of Baffert. I mean, think about how many races you see over at Santa Anita or Del Mar, and he has every horse in the race. So it's definitely something that we have to look at. We definitely highlight it as soon as we see his name in a race. But just seeing this horse's success, this horse is there for a reason. And being as it's a stakes race, but it's not for Derby points or Oaks points or anything like that, him putting that horse in there tells me that horse is here for a reason. And the fact that Pratt's jumping aboard again after Hernandez, Juan Hernandez had ridden the horse a couple times in different races across the country, just kind of it threw a red flag for me, and I had to go there and just single it and keep the cost of this ticket down by doing that.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with you there. I decided not to single the 7. I do have the 7 on my ticket. You look at those last 4 races, obviously 4 victories, including a grade 1. When you have a grade 1 winner against a bunch of other horses that I don't even know if anybody has a grade 2 or a grade 3 win, to me, that's really a separator. However, there's one thing that caused me a little bit of concern, and that is that this horse has not raced in 385 days. Now, when you see that, I always tend to get a little skittish on these types of horses. However, one thing you want to look at is that the horse has at least 4 workouts, is what I like to see, spaced out every 7 days. This horse checks those boxes. This horse actually has, I think, 6 or 7, including a couple 5 furlong workouts at running at 1 minute. Usually I like to see if you're doing 4 furlongs, 48 seconds, 5 furlongs a minute, 6 furlongs a minute, 12. This horse has done that a couple times. So Baffert's not bringing a horse that's out of shape for sure, right? But 385 days is 385 days, and these are animals. So if there's going to be a hiccup, that's my angle as to why this horse might struggle. When you look at the Brisnet Prime Power, there's a difference of 5 points between the top 2 and the rest of the field. The other horse that was within Eda was the Yankee Dollar, number 4. This horse was interesting because it's only raced on turf. It's a horse sired by California Chrome, who usually performs a lot better on the turf. I wrote that this horse was quick. It has a 5 furlong workout in 58 seconds, a 4 furlong workout in 46 seconds. This horse has shown some speed, and maybe this 4 can go at it with number 7, setting it up for a closer, which is my other horse I'm going to put on my ticket, number 8, Lady Commissioner. You got to kind of look in between the lines here. This horse has ridden 5 out of the last 6 races have been on the turf. You go back and look at that race at a mile on the dirt, though. It was respectable second in the city of Phoenix up at Turfway Park. Prior to that, the last 3 races on the dirt, the speed figures were, at least somewhat in the ballpark. Lifetime Brisnet speed figure of 90 on the dirt. Maybe if Ida is a little bit off the game because of the 385-day layoff, gets softened up by Yankee Dollar. I am hoping that Lady Commissioner can be my price here in this race, so I use the 7 and the 8. Finky singles the 7.
Real quick before we move on, if I was going to use another horse, it would have been the 4 Yankee Dollar. Obviously, we're going to have, being on the West Coast, California Chrome, that's big for us. And one of the things there for me that did put me off was exactly that this horse runs on turf and is now just going to jump on the dirt and run a race and hope to win a graded stakes race. I'm sorry, this is just a stakes race. It's not graded, if I remember correct.
Yes.
But Harry Hernandez aboard was the reason that I looked at it as well. And if I had done another horse in this leg, I would have done that. Did you have any thoughts before we move on to about Miss Hard Knocks? That was our 3rd rated. We have Ida, and then we have Yankee Dollar. But the 2 caught my eye as well. Had a random, very good speed rating in its last race, and it just kind of caught my eye. So I just wanted to see if you had any notes on that one.
Yeah, the thing that I highlighted was that the best races, at least the last 3 best races, were on the turf. So although I had said with number 4 we haven't seen on the dirt yet, the horses I've seen on the dirt, I would want to see maybe a little bit better performance. Just has a couple seconds. Does pretty well over fast track, is actually 7 for 14 in the money. You're getting a 6-1 price. I can't argue against that choice. But when I look back and you see claiming races and you're stepping up to the stakes, that's what scared me away a little bit. As opposed to the 4, it's that unknown factor, like I don't know what the horse is going to do on the dirt. And I'd rather take a shot on a horse that I don't know about than a horse that I've seen on, in the claiming races on the dirt.
And the reason I asked is the big thing for me is Yankee Dollar 2 races back beat Miss Hard Knocks, but then they come back to the next race and Miss Hard Knocks beat Lady Commissioner and Yankee Dollar with that huge speed rating. So it was two of 3 at Sunland wins as well. So that's just some thoughts I had there. Anytime you see a horse that's in a smaller track like this, like when I say smaller, I mean not as prestigious as some of the bigger ones we see these Derby prep races as, that was bought for $125,000. It gives me an automatic pause to take a second look.
Yeah, I also cautioned in that I think the 2 preferred the longer distance in that last race against Yankee Dollar, whereas we're going back to the mile. Just looking at the sire stats, I think that the Miss Hard Knocks probably had a little bit of an advantage with that extra 16th, which is why she might have beaten Yankee Dollar in that race. Good stuff. So we move on to the marquee race at Sunland Derby on Sunday, March 26th. It's great that it's Sunday. I love having these Derby preps on Sunday instead of cramming everything into the Saturday. And we get a field of 7. Now, I'll preface this by saying today I was listening to the Brisnet Colin show, and they had mentioned that the expectations for Fort Bragg was to not run here and to actually skip a week and be pointed to the Florida Derby to take on Forte. Now, me and you have done some Google searching and some Twitter searching, and the only thing we were finding was the military base on Fort Bragg, other than the tweet of me putting a question mark, is this happening? And no one responded really that it was. To me, it doesn't make why would you go to the Florida Derby to go against Forte when you probably have a much better shot here, including the less of the travel. So because we haven't been able to confirm that, we're going to approach this as if Fort Bragg is in. And then at the very end of the show, if Fort Bragg's out, we're going to give you kind of an alternate ticket that we've played around with. So let's take a look at the Sunland Park Derby. This is for 50 points. So the winner of this race will have enough points to get into the gate for the Kentucky Derby, aside from number 6, obviously with the being trained by Mr. Bob Baffert. So where did you go here in the Sunland Park Derby?
Well, for me, first, if you ever want to go camping on the far west coast, Fort Bragg is an amazing spot for it during the summer. The temperatures are decent. They have huge redwoods for everybody. So I highly recommend it if anybody's ever taken a trip out here and wants to do some camping. It's a great place. Or just go walk around the town. Nice place to go. But for me, it really did start with Henry Q, the 4. That's where I really would put my eggs if I was putting them all in one basket. I'm not. I'm actually 4 deep here. Fort Bragg is included in that. I mean, it's a Tappet horse, so automatically you've got to take a look no matter what. But the talking about Baffert, obviously that's been the theme here. Do you just take all the Baffert horses and hope you're only 50 cents deep and single them all, or they moved this to Bob Baffert Light Barn and Tim Yakteen, and then ran at Santa Anita. So there's a reason that they moved it. They want to get into the Derby. They want to win this race. So like you said, it does not make sense for them to go to Florida and run the race when all they have to do is, not travel far from Santa Anita over to New Mexico, win this race. You're probably in. You can kind of get the horse ready to go from there. The only thing I could see, maybe they want to actually see how the horse travels. I mean, it's been to Laurel, so I don't know why. I'm sorry. No, that's not Laurel. That's Los Alamitos, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe they just want to see how the horse travels to see if it's worth it. Maybe they don't want to go to the Derby if the horse doesn't do well after traveling, something like that. I mean, that's a long trip to Florida. But yeah, I went 4 deep here. I went 3, 4, 5, 6. When building a pick 3 ticket, I like to keep it on the lower end. I like to find one horse I can single in one leg. And typically I'll either try and hit it heavy on the first leg and go, single on the last leg. But if not, I like to make sure that I have those 4 on the last leg because it's nice to sit back. I mean, there's 7 horses. I got 4 of them. If one of those other horses beats me, then it just was not meant to be for me to win it. Plus, I'll know what my payouts are going to be when it comes down to it on those 4 if I hit one of them.
Yeah, I had Henry Q on top for me as well. If Fort Bragg is not in, Henry Q will be a single for me. I think this horse has gotten better with distance. Closes really well. And what I like to look at, remember, the Sunland Derby here is 1 1/8. You have a couple horses that have gone 1 1/16, but you also have 3 horses that have only gone 1 mile. The 1, the 2, and the 5 have only raced at 1 mile. So then I look at the horses that have raced at 1 1/16. Fort Bragg, look, this horse has lost to Practical Move twice, has beat Reincarnate, who I'm high on, has actually beaten Practical Move. The last race at 1 1/16, the horse was weakening. This is second off the layoff, though, so you'd expect a little bit better performance. But number 4, Henry Q, has actually shown to be improving with distance. And check out that last race at 1 1/16. Easy winner, won by 14 lengths, which is pretty impressive, including beating the 7 Wild on Ice, who's probably a easy toss for me here. The one horse I'd be concerned about for you, if we make it this far, is the 1. How did he do that? I think this horse wants distance. And as we just talked about, although this horse has only raced at 1 mile, if you kind of follow the progression of this horse, it started out at 5 furlong, 6, then moved up to 7. As it's gotten older, it's done better at some of these longer distances. It's also trained by Steve Asmussen, and you get a good Magic, who I always dig, with the grandsire of Curlin. The other horse that I did use, though, as I said, would be Fort Bragg. So I would go 3, 4 here if Fort Bragg is in. Otherwise, I would just go Henry Q. Number 5, 1 in Vermilion. This is horse sired by Army Mule. Something that me and Matt DeSantis always talk about is progressing speed figures, and that's what I've seen with this horse. 4 races, and it just continues to get better. So I like that, and I like the 6-1 price that you're getting there. And you use 6 hard to figure as well. Again, another Baffert horse. I was wondering if this horse is going to get overbet based on the speed figure for that last race in the Robert Lewis. It really popped up, at least going by Brisnet. He was putting in the mid-70s, low mid-80s, and all of a sudden he throws up 100. Is that just an outlier, or has this horse taken such a big step up? Sired by Hardspun, maybe not, but I don't think I could. I know I can't use as much chalk as I did on this ticket and use Henry Q and Hard to Figure and Fort Bragg. It's just going to chalk out. So my ticket is only $2. Obviously, if you feel strong about this, like you said, I considered like just 3 Bafferts.
Yeah, I mean,
So
it makes
4,
sense.
4, 7, and 6, but being me, I couldn't do that, and I think Henry Q has a legitimate shot here. So obviously, if you're playing this type of ticket, the base will cost you $2. Maybe you make it a $10 pick 3, and you play it similar to that.
Yeah, and I added the 6 kind of as an insurance policy on this. I agree with you. I think I said it before. You see 2-1. Just people are going to see Baffert. People are going to see Pratt. They're going to go, oh, I've seen that jockey before. I'm going to bet him. The other thing is that horse racing is such a oddity compared to basketball or baseball or football. You're not necessarily betting that you have an edge because of some statistic that you see that you use for your handicapping. You're betting on that horse being consistent or a little bit better, or if they are swapping a jockey, which in the case of Hard to Figure, Pratt has ridden the horse before, but it's run against a very, very tough competition as well. So maybe that's it. Maybe they're putting that horse in this race and just, you know what, we're going to go win it. We're going to screw up the points for everybody. And, I would not be surprised if that's what Baffert tried to do in every race going forward. Like, fine, you don't want to overturn it. I'm just going to win them all. And then we'll see who's actually good when you guys get there. So always interesting. I haven't actually heard a lot of people talking about One in Vermilion saying that they like the horse in any way. For me, it was consistent. It's won its last 2 races. It's run at Sunland before. Hasn't run anything over a mile though, so that is a concern that maybe you see a fade down the end. But if I'm right in the way that I looked at this horse and the way that we handicapped this using our Lundin line, if that horse wins on the end and it's like 6-1 to 10-1 and I'm alive, it's a great price you're getting there.
Yeah, I always say don't fade until they fade. So this horse has put up a 72, then an 80, then an 86, then an 88. So who's to say he can't take another step forward? And the par for this race is a 97. He's obviously well beneath what Henry Q put up certainly last time, well beneath what Fort Bragg has put up. But if Fort Bragg is out, and maybe Henry Q takes a step back from that 101, they're both right in the same company now. And as you said, you're getting the much better value and the much better price. So as I mentioned earlier, before we leave, I just want to throw up a ticket in case Fort Bragg is out, because you approached it much differently. I basically just took Fort Bragg off my ticket, but you decided to go a little bit deeper in that middle leg if Fort Bragg is off.
Correct. Yeah. I when you take a horse that's like that has a lot of hype and a lot of people are probably going to be looking at it, you got to, I called it Baffert Light as a joke, because there was the time where everybody's like, oh, all of Baffert's horses went to Tim Yakin. Oh, he was his former trainer. Oh, what a surprise. So should he even be able? Anyway, we're not going to do the horse politics thing here. We're just going to talk about making some money. I actually extended my ticket out. Even in that first leg there, I did add the 4 back in. I added the 4 just to get, because who knows, maybe he's there and he's just there to try and, like, super conspiracy theory. Maybe he's just trying to boost those pools up with his name on it, kill those horses, and somebody he knows is betting somewhere else. Like, again, that is unfounded. That is not anything. Trust the Prophets does not condone this type of language, I'm sure. But, it's always fun to talk a little conspiracy theory when it comes to a big time, trainer, team, anybody, coach. I mean, you see it in other sports too, where people talk conspiracy theory about how they were going to go. I was watching the Michigan State game, and that was the big thing, that Izzo just wins in the tournament. So Baffert just wins these races. So if I'm off base and I have this $8 or $12 ticket and he wins all 3 of them, I'm going to lose money on my tickets.
Yeah, never a place we want to be, but we did want to give people the transparency that if we think Fort Bragg is out and he is out, then our tickets would be a little bit different. Mine's only $1. So as I like to say on Doubling Down, you can't call me and blame me for losing $1. Just skip the muffin with your coffee tomorrow. Thanks so much for joining me.
If you could tell me where to get a muffin for $1 these days, by all means, please do.
Yes, please put in the comments where the best muffin is for $1. Great to talk to you again, Finky. Again, he is at Turtle Sports. That is _ Turtle Sports, correct?
That is us, _ Turtle Sports. We got our t-shirts out there if you want to buy one and support us. Colin, if you send me your size, I will actually mail you one, and maybe we'll see it on the Trust the Prophets YouTube one day.
You got it. Everybody have a great weekend. There's some excellent racing Don't get too tired with the 15 race cards at Fairgrounds on Saturday and Sunday. Save your bullets. Don't text me in race 5 saying I'm all done. We got to play late. These days can be long, and we'll be watching some racing under the lights. Stay tuned to Trust the Profits. We'll have live reactions of all your Derby preps this weekend. Have a great day, everybody.